Welcome, beautiful souls. Welcome to another amazing episode of Sips with Shay. I am your girl, Shay. Wait. Here are my sips. I got my sips today. I love this. I found this at Marshall's. I'm a Leo. I have to. It called for me, and I felt like it would be so disrespectful to not get it. So this is what we're drinking out of today. I hope that you are feeling amazing because we're doing a part 2. And today I'm going to share with you 5 ways that you may have found yourself on the struggle bus, or 5 ways that you can end up on the struggle bus. However you want to word it, we're going to talk about the 5 ways, okay? So if you didn't, I do recommend that you watch the first video, part 1, just so you can have some clarity. In the first video, I kind of spoke more about financial, but once I kind of relaxed and took my time, I realized there's so many other ways that you can end up on the struggle bus, and I kind of want to dive into it today. So your girl took some notes. I got her tea. I hope that you are ready. Let's go dive in. How you doing? It is a beautiful Thursday. Okay, listen, today's Thursday and I'm feeling good for 2 reasons. One, it is a beautiful 82 degrees. It might be 83, but baby, I am pulling on summer and I have not been disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. They was trying to get rid of the sun and I'm like, hey, relax, chill. Okay, so when it gets hot, I don't know how to act. I'm one of those, I don't know how to act, okay? And another reason, okay, what is it? My show, what's the name of my show? I was just reasonable doubt. Jax is my girl, okay? If you do not know Hulu, you better know. Hulu has not been disappointing, okay? Hulu has been getting your girl right. What is the other one? How to Die Alone or something like that? The shows are giving me love. Black women leading the room. I'm just here for it. So that's why I'm happy it's Thursday. I get to watch my Jax. It's sunny. I went to the gym. I'm feeling good. And I am here being consistent with you, uploading part 2 of how we got on the struggle bus. Because honey, I'm a strong believer in order to find the solution, usually when you read the problem, when you understand how we got to the problem, 9 times out of 10, the solution is right there. We just have to kind of dive in a little deeper. You might have to talk to some people. You might have to meditate, whatever. The solution is usually right there. So today we're going to kind of have a little bit of breakdown on how we may have found ourselves on the struggle. Something before we even dive in. You're going to hear some noise. I live in New York. I can't help that. And I have the window open because the breeze is breezing. And I don't want you to be annoyed, but I gotta put that out there that you might hear some noise. You might, I'm not gonna lie. So y'all ready to dive in? Let's dive in. If you know me from my videos, okay, I'm big on getting the etymology or the definition of the word, and I went to Google. I'm not gonna lie, I did. I usually don't do Google, but I did. Maybe because I just wasn't in the mood to get too deep. I think that's what it was. And when I looked up the word struggle and bus, I really appreciated the definition that I got from Google. So I was like, we're gonna rock with it. So the definition from Google that described struggle was, it's a verb and it means to make forceful or violent effort to get free of restraint or constriction. When I read that, I was like, that's enough. That hits it right on the nail. Like it's right there. A struggle is anything where there's a forceful or violent effort to break free of anything that is constricting you, restraining you, holding you down, okay? We trying to break free from the struggle. I don't care where that struggle is. We are trying to break free, but it's not just a regular, like a little pull. It is forceful. It is an effort to become free. When I looked up bus, I came up with, or this is what it said. It's a noun, a large motor vehicle carrying passengers by road, typically serving the public on a fixed route and for a fare. And that right there was so deep to me because I'm like, I think we've all paid a fare subconsciously and consciously to get on the struggle bus. And that fare could be one of those 5 reasons I'm going to mention in a few minutes or a few seconds. I was like, that hits it right on the nail. And when I read passengers, I'm like, the beautiful thing in that, the definition is realizing that you're not by yourself on this struggle bus. There's a group of people who may have paid the same fare as you to get on this struggle bus by accident, but there was something that was given in order to get on. And now the goal is to break free from the struggle, okay? Now, let's get into number one, or one of the reasons why, or ways you may have found yourself on a struggle bus, or one of the ways you are struggling is with due to loss of connection. I think in this day and age, a lot of us feel disconnected from self. A lot of us feel as though the world has all the answers, and because the world has all the answers, we're just sitting back like, okay, does anybody have an answer for me? And what's happening is, slowly but surely, a lot of us are feeling disconnected from self. And the issue with feeling disconnected with self and how one would find themselves on a struggle due to this is, when you feel disconnected with self, you can't really hear yourself. You don't trust yourself, and this can cause a level of confusion. I found myself in a situation where I was lost to myself when life happened and I couldn't hear myself anymore. I felt like anything I said didn't make sense. Trying to find clarity with myself, it was hard because I felt so chaotic inside. And that's one thing that you have to be mindful of. When you lose connection with self, you create space for chaos to come in, right? You create space for things that are unstable and ungrounded, and things that can easily uproot you and toss you from side to side to kind of fill your space. So if you've ever felt any of those, just know you were probably in the atmosphere of losing connection with yourself. Just to put that out. Number two, self-doubt and fear. Honestly, I feel like as an African-American woman, fear is always around the corner for me, whether I want it to be or not. Definitely living in New York, definitely being single. What? Fear is such a bitch. It sucks. And self-doubt is no better, because what I've experienced, and every time I've had self-doubt or fear, I was basically saying on a bigger platform, my creator is not powerful enough to give me what I need for me to get through this feeling. That's what I was saying subconsciously. Whenever we have self-doubt, we're not just doubting ourselves, we're doubting our creator. What we're saying is, our spirit guide, whatever you believe in, God, whatever, gives you clarity. I'm gonna say God just for reference, just to make it make sense. When I would feel self-doubt, I would say, or I would be saying subconsciously, God gave everybody else enough to do what they needed, but me kind of skipped over me, right? And you may not believe that you're saying it, but when you know you are capable and you choose to hold yourself back because you're doubting, that's basically what you're saying. I'm not capable, meaning God did not give me the power to be capable, which is a lie. Those are the dark thoughts that kind of cloud our mind. And we have to stand firm and know whose we are. And that's when you have to pull out something that's more powerful than you. That could be your Bible, that could be meditation, that could be the ancestors, whatever you need to kind of remind you, okay, I got this. Because fear, 9 times out of 10, there's usually no immediate threat when there's fear. Now, when there's danger, you're in danger. Something is literally, tangibly, logically wrong. But fear, 9 times out of 10, is a mental thing. There's something that you are either moving too far in the future with, or you're reminiscing something in the past that has your brain so confused that it believes that it's in danger, when in reality ain't nothing happening. And I can say this is true because I've been in my bed minding my business by myself, haven't even rolled over to the right side of the bed, and I had a panic attack and nothing was happening. And that's when I realized it's mental. Breathe through it. Have conversations with yourself to realize, okay, everything is okay. Because if you don't, your fear on how you ended up on the struggle bus is you were living in so much fear that you just tapped out. You just tapped out. And that can mean in any form or fashion. Number 3, life transitions. A lot of us probably have ended up tapping out because something very traumatic happened in life. And that could come in the form of love, abuse, trauma, but something happened that altered our belief system. Perfect example. Let's just pull something out of my head. Went to church. You love church. You loved your pastor. You enjoyed the Bible. You enjoyed the atmosphere. But one day, something happened, and the pastor or the deacon was like, shh, don't tell nobody. It'll be our secret. And with this happening, you told your parent. And you told your parents because you felt my parents would protect me, and they failed you. And from that moment, your belief system has been shaken up ever since. You don't believe in God because you're angry at God. How would you, or how could you allow this to happen? You don't trust your parents because you were supposed to protect me. And you don't trust authority because the pastor was supposed to not even allow this to even happen, to not even see you in that view. And because of this life transition, you now have trust problems. You have trust issues, and now you do everything on your own, right? Like you take on the whole world, and because you're taking on the whole world, you're tired, you're burnt out, you are done. You're like, somebody else just lived this portion of life for me because I've taken on when you don't trust, right? You're putting yourself in a grave before your time, because usually when you don't trust, it's like nobody can do it like me, or nobody's gonna do it for me. So I have to do everything. I'm not gonna delegate. I'm not gonna trust people to get it done for me. I don't trust it. Another example, you fall in love, you're excited, you're like, ooh, my heart. And then you find out you've been love bombed by a narcissistic person who gaslit you and who was very abusive. And now you don't know how to love correctly, or now you're questioning if you were ever capable of being loved correctly because of the choice that you made, or the choice that you feel more responsible for. What do I mean? A lot of women who get, or a lot of people who get in situations where they've been hurt in a loving relationship, or they thought was a loving relationship, 9 times out of 10, they'll blame themselves than understanding who played what part. It doesn't just take one person. Not from my experience. When I was love bombed, there were things that happened before he loved bombed me where I should have, that's it. That's a dub. But I allowed myself to keep going, and the love bombing got so intense. I was like, yeah, this gotta stop. I'm happy I got out before my heart got scarred. But was there some scratches? Yes. And what's interesting is I ended up on the struggle bus where I realized I kept attracting a certain type of man, because life transitions like that altered my perception of men. I had a skewed view, and this skewed view was my fare to get on the struggle bus, and I was going in the same route, meeting ain't nothing type of dudes who wanted to whisper sweet nothings in my ear, dudes who literally wanted to break me. I had a dude tell me, I don't think you're this strong, my intent is to break you. We're not gonna go into that. That might have to be another episode, because you know that he really said that. Number 4, external influences. Whew. External influences suck. They suck. They suck so much because they sneak up on you. External influences could be your family, the peer pressure of your family, peer pressure of society, social media. And what do I mean by external influences? It could easily be your parents or your family feel like you're the one who's going to get things in order. You're the one who's going to get married. You're the one who's going to have kids. You're going to have a successful business. You're going to have a beautiful life. And they have it planned out for you that you start to mold your destiny into what they have for you, which causes you to not trust the path that God has for you, right? It's so unfortunate when our parents or our family is putting so much pressure on us to be the generational curse breaker, to be the wealthy one, to be the one who gets married, to be the one who graduates from college, to be the one to do whatever. Because what happens is you can easily or subconsciously resent them. And nobody wants to resent their parents, right? Nobody wants to resent people who really want good for them. But within them wanting good for you, you have to have those moments where you can check in with yourself to see, is this still what I want? You could be, or let me say it like this, they can be guiding you on your path, but they only see one part. Where God is like, okay, I told you to do this part, but there's more. So you might be, okay, I'm good here. And your family's like, stay here. This is where it's at. And God is like, no, that's a part of what I want you to do. I need you to evolve now, because if you don't, you're going to get burnt out and you're going to miss the blessing. You don't want to miss it. Or a perfect example, you'll be on social media and everybody's talking about how to make money like this and how to do, and then you start to look at your content, peaceful life, and you're like, nah, I need more. And it's like, no, not yet. Don't be influenced by that. You don't know what they're going through, but you're like, it's so flashy, it's so pretty, it looks so exciting, everybody's traveling and they made $1 million in 5 minutes. I know I can do it. And you burn yourself out. Peer pressure doesn't just come from a bully saying, do it. Peer pressure can come from your loved ones. Peer pressure can come from somebody you idolize. Peer pressure will come in any form or fashion where you realize you're being pressured into doing something that, even though it could be the right thing, it's not the overall energy that you're supposed to dive head first in. It's okay, I can do this because that's true, that's part of my path, that's part of the journey, but I don't think I'm supposed to stay in this part this long. And there has to be a moment where you redirect and be like, all right, yeah, I hear ya, I understand where you're coming from, but it's becoming too much. You know, I can't be all these things for y'all and then it's not fulfilling for me. I have something in me that I need to listen to, and I understand y'all may have heard a part of it, but I heard the other part, right? Easy to get on the struggle bus with that, because if you're not careful with boundaries, and if you don't realize within a certain time, okay, I'm starting to people please because they want me to do all these things, you'll end up in a route of always listening to what people want you to do, always following the next trend, always adjusting your life to fit what everybody else wants. And then you just end up in a cycle of not truly being fulfilled or happy because you never took heed to the other part, which was the conversations that Spirit had with you intuitively, energetically, spiritually, that nobody else was supposed to know. Last but not least, lack of self-care. Man, please. When I'm walking in the street, so I'm a personal trainer, and when I be walking in the street and I see people who are overweight, just visibly, when I see people who have issues with walking, when I see people in wheelchairs, when I just see people just looking uncomfortable, I'm like, wow, look at that. How did they get there? And it's a buildup of things, right? Like lack of taking care of self is when Mama said self-care is self-love, that was a word. Because if you truly love yourself, you will take care of yourself. And let me tell you something. Let me put this down for a second. Self-care isn't just washing your ass. Some of y'all need to do that too. But it's paying your bills on time. It's not eating past the level of I'm full, like I feel good. It's being mindful of where you're spending your money. It's being mindful of nurturing those friendships and those relationships. Ain't nobody say you gotta call every day, because I don't. If you know me, I don't do that. But it's understanding I got my people and I'm gonna check in on my people, even if it's once a month, twice a month, whatever. They need to know that I'm still here and I need to know that they're still there, right? Self-care looks like, I know that they want me to do this, but I can't do that because I need to make sure I'm okay. So I'm gonna say no, right? A lot of people end up on the struggle bus because they lack the ability to take care of themselves. Obesity, issues with their health, finances all over the place, not keeping their home in order. Let me tell you, and this is not me judging anybody, because I have neglected myself many times. Many times. Even now, I'm still neglecting myself. It is a practice. It is something that you have to maintain. I will say one thing, when I don't do the thing that I said, I have just neglected myself. And it shows up in other areas. Now, how do we end up in a struggle or on the struggle bus with this? Easy. You could do a lot when your body is strong, but everything else is in chaos. Because if your body is strong, that means you have common sense and you know how to take care of this, right? So you can clean your room, because nothing's wrong with you. By cleaning your room, you realize, okay, I can see, I can prove, you know what, I could get my finances in order. Okay, so now we're knocking down 2. Then you realize, okay, let me call my homegirl, let me call my bro. Okay, now we knock down 3 and it goes. But I feel like this, when your body is messed up, anything else that's in good standing, it ain't gonna last. So you wanna make sure that home is taken care of before you start trying to fix things outside. Let me say this as I wrap this up. Before I even wrap this up, if you enjoyed this video, do like, comment, subscribe, okay? If you feel like somebody else could get something from this, do share, okay? And if any of these resonated with you, you can write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the comments, because as I said, bus is a vehicle where there's passengers and there's strength in numbers. And when we realize I'm not the only person who was dealing with self-doubt or fear, or I wasn't the only one who was not taking care of themselves, right? We can, if you have a passenger that you can relate to, okay, we can get off this bus together. It doesn't have to be scary, right? Understanding that there's so many of us on the struggle bus, it kind of gives an understanding that, one, we all kind of battle something. We all deal with something where it's like, okay, I need some help. This is hard. And one thing that I've experienced when I realized I was on the struggle bus, in my finances and in my home, like there was just, it was just hard to kind of function. I realized showing myself grace was one way that I had to keep that maintaining. Like, okay, I show myself grace for my mistakes. I show myself grace and I take accountability for these things. I show myself grace for living in the past and moving too far in the future, right? Just because you find yourself on the struggle bus, whether that's with finances, whether that's due to fear, whether that's due to lack of connection of self, whatever it is, that doesn't mean that you have to stay on it. You know, if you ever take public transportation, you realize that at a certain point you have to get off the bus. You just have to choose what stop is yours. Are we stopping? Okay, I got on due to lack of self-trust. I'm gonna get off right here. I'm not gonna keep this route going. I'm gonna get off right here and I'm gonna do my best to see what I can do now. I got on because I paid the fare of fear. Okay, all right, I was afraid of things that were big and I was afraid of things that were small. I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of success, whatever it is. But I'm gonna get off now because I think I'm ready to just do it anyway. Find out what your struggle is, and I promise you this, the solution is right there. Until next time, peace.